saw this hit in my Discord here. This dude's name is RedLir. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he's somebody in the community I'm aware of, but I've not really watched a lot of his content. And so I'm not quite sure what to expect. I know that he is a content creator. Cash says he's a really good dude. That's kind of the impression I get from this guy. He's just like a really genuine guy. He made a video here that says my 5-year journey, or I'm sorry, my 6-year journey to Legatus backer. So Legatus, I think, is what, 25,000? I think it's 25,000. And that is a shit ton to put into a game. But keep in mind as you're watching this, before we watch this and everybody, you know, starts on the troll bandwagon, that he's a content creator. So I'm sure he actually takes, like we do here on DG360, the support on the channel, and he pushes it towards pledges and then rolls them over and gives back to the community. So keep that in mind, because over the 5 or 6 years that we've done this here on DG360, we have done the same. And I think we're over like 10,000, 15,000, somewhere thereabouts. So, you know, that's the great thing of being a content creator, is you can kind of quantify the amount of support you can give to a project, because you have such an amazing community backing you, that it actually can do amazing things that like I've done here on DG360, and I'm sure that RedLir has done as well. So keep that in mind when we're watching this. Let's check it out. Let's see what RedLir has to say about his journey.
Well, it finally happened. On February 23rd, 2022, I received an email from Chris Roberts notifying me that I had in fact reached Legatus Navium status. It actually occurred a few months earlier, but I'm sure he's really busy, so we can forgive him for the delay. Email memes aside, logging in and spotting the gold and black painted 600i Explorer in my hangar was a sure sign that the line had been crossed. I had entered the...
It was a sure sign that my wife was going to beat the shit out of me.
highest echelon of the galaxy's most rarefied society, or so they told me at least. For those of you who may not be familiar with what Legatus exactly means, it's the current top-level concierge status given to any backer who pledges $25,000 US.
I'm sorry, honey. We could have had a nice Range Rover, but now you fly this spaceship, okay, honey? Just sit down. I'm sure it's just as useful and just as handy as the Rover. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love
more over the lifetime of their account. Believe me, I'm as shocked as you are. In just a little over 6 years, I had somehow gone from hesitant backer to full-blown internet pixel addict. How did I get here? And for that matter, why did I get here?
Lots of alcohol.
What would possess a person to give Chris Roberts so much money? After all, isn't Star Citizen a well-known scam? Was I tricked or forced to back the project under duress? Was it aliens? I've always been a space nerd of sorts and was a huge fan of Star Wars and Star Trek growing up, as well as more recent titles like Battlestar Galactica and The Expanse. I'm also a huge fan of MMOs and have logged more than a healthy amount of hours in games like Star Wars Galaxies and EVE Online.
Good taste. Good taste.
In December of 2015,
RedLir, good taste in games. Good taste in games. I do approve.
I was on an extended vacation looking for something new and fresh to sink my teeth into. I had never heard of Chris Roberts or played one of his previous games, but I found SC through some Google Foo and it seemed like an interesting project. I stumbled into Twitch and found a content creator that was streaming the alpha on a nightly basis. I curiously asked questions, picking the brain of this veteran backer over the course of a couple of weeks. I noticed they had quite the collection of spaceships in their hangar already. Did they work for the company? Who would spend that much money on internet space pixels, I wondered. Even as I was deciding if I would back this project, I was adamant in my mind that this would never happen to me. It was surely lunacy. By January 2nd, 2016, I was the proud owner of a brand new Star Citizen account with my very own Aurora LN Squadron 42 combo pack. The prospect of a future game that could be an FPS version of EVE Online or even
$24,960 later after my Aurora.
WG with larger worlds captured me right away. I was cautious though. I took an immediate vow that I would now wait patiently for the game to be released and never buy another space pixel with real money again. This was it. This was all I needed. My little Aurora and I were going to take on the verse and wait patiently together. After all, the Star Citizen community assured me the game was only about 2 years away. By February of the same year, I started what would be a 6-year ride of streaming Star Citizen on Twitch and eventually here creating YouTube videos. Streaming the alpha quickly became my my nightly hobby, and as with most hobbies, a little more money went into it. What hooked me immediately was the flight and combat experience that was laid out before us in the 2.x patches. Sure, there were bugs, but the model that their physics programmer John Pritchett had designed was exhilarating.
Until
the
they
persistent universe was still in its infancy, so night after night, arena lobbies were jam-packed with players brawling it out in tightly controlled fighter craft, left to imagine how large fleet combat would all play out as the universe progressed. Interacting and entertaining with the Star Citizen community was something I looked forward to every night. To my surprise, as a lifelong introvert, I had become addicted to creating content and entertaining live on the internet. The channel took off fast, and every month I would put a portion of my Twitch earnings towards new ships to fly and even give ships away to the community. I was fortunate enough that any support I received could be used this way. I had a full-time job, and I didn't require Twitch to pay my mortgage or bills. As an adult, I knew full well what I was getting into, where my money was going, and I was more than happy doing it. Ships became content, and content became ships. Fast forward to the 3.0 release, and the patch had broken the flight experience to the point that it would never really be recovered. JP eventually left, and flight refactors came and went, but they paled in comparison to the magic CIG had captured in all those earlier patches. The experience that caused myself and other backers to be so passionately involved in Star Citizen was gone, and likely not coming back every Thursday and Friday, soon, if at all. A lot of my friends and community went with it. I still enjoyed streaming and engaging with members of the community. There were still things to look forward to besides the combat experience. Star Citizen became more about the journey for me than the destination at that point. I focused on the experience,
exploration, and people all in the same experience, and really playing with other people in the game. The community is really what makes Star Citizen great. That player retention, and really the player cap set where it's at right now. You can only imagine once server meshing gets nailed down and the player cap gets extended and the cap goes away, how amazing it's going to be with the amount of people. It's going to feel very lively, very vibrant. So, you know, that's one thing that Star Citizen has over other titles like Elite Dangerous. You can feel the danger, you can feel the community surround you in the chat, and you feel like, hey, there's actually other people flying around here that I'm going to run into at some point.
Experiences and time spent with friends I was making, and after all, Star Citizen was only 2 years away. Over the 6 years and 4,000 hours of streaming, I heard a lot from the community. Why they backed, what they did or did not like, and what their expectations were for both Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Their arrival and backgrounds came from wildly different paths. Some were longtime Chris Roberts fans from his single-player games of old, some came from PvP-centric games like EVE Online, and others from everything in between. It became very clear over time that most backers had polarizing expectations in comparison to each other. There was genuine confusion when a gameplay loop or feature direction hadn't lined up with what they imagined when they backed. It seemed CIG had a problem, or more accurately, the backers did. There were so many opinions on what the game would and would not be, and everyone seemed to be convinced their take was CIG's vision. How could CIG possibly satisfy everyone? It didn't help that in the early years, CIG had never fully defined most of the gameplay aspects they were planning, and firm details were an ever-moving target.
I mean, at the very beginning, it was so hard to define it because, Jesus, we wanted everything. We still want everything. We voted for it. I say this all the time. SIG isn't the reason this has taken so long. It's us. It's our imagination, man.
Questions and asks on shows like Send for the Chairman often met with answers like, we think, we hope, what we imagine, or we don't have current plans for that, but you never know. In some cases, there certainly were outright overestimations and realignments on CIG's part. The early Squadron 42 release target of 2016 and original Road to 4.0 timeline immediately come to mind. CIG has been better about this in recent years. As with any development project, goalposts get moved, and being an alpha, anything that was specifically stated was subject to change, and it certainly did. Details around features and aspects of the project were very open-ended, and backers were left to dream up and build their own conclusions in their minds. If there was one thing that CIG marketing had become masters of, it was getting the backers to open their wallets based on their imagination and interpretation of features that were not yet fully realized. As years went on and plans became less fuzzy, many older backers became jaded or felt lied to as certain features or timeframes didn't line up as they had imagined. Some simply reached their threshold of how long the no publishing, no compromise project was taking. Some of the most staunch supporters had turned hostile and bitter. We have to appreciate that some of these backers had been involved since late 2012 and Star Citizen was still 2 years away. On the flip side, there were waves of fresh backers coming in all the time who were mesmerized by the beauty of the verse with its large-scale moons and planets to explore. Their enthusiasm and passion for the future was very recognizable from when I had found the project years before. Twitch chat conversations became an odd juxtaposition of the new versus old guard of Star Citizen, and I could certainly understand both perspectives. I've been asked a lot over the years if I regret backing Star Citizen so heavily, and if I think after all this time if Star Citizen is a scam. The answer has always been no to both of these questions, and here's where the truth lies. While CIG has been making record crowdfunding amounts year over year, I don't believe setting up shop in multiple...
Boom. The employers, the actual real life aspect to the business, Cloud Imperium, the corporation. Absolutely. It's like when people say this is a scam, this is great. I love this. RedLir's on point. He is so on point. Look at the amount of people involved. You know, it started with a handful of people, right? And look at what it's grown to. This is an industry. This is an industry. Sometimes I feel like they're growing too fast, but these are real people, real paychecks, doing real work. Like, you know, there's no scamas about this.
Multiple countries and paying the salaries of hundreds of employees to create a game is in line with that. I could never get anyone who declared it as a scam to tell me how it worked.
Absolutely.
All I know is it's supposed to involve
100%.
Star Citizen is a dream. The reality is that any amount of money that anyone has ever pledged has been driven by the hope that Star Citizen will satisfy the gaming experience they imagine it to be someday. Ultimately, though, those wants are overridden by one major fact. This is actually Chris Roberts' dream. Whether you agree or disagree with his current vision on any given Tuesday, that is the only thing that matters to the future reality of Star Citizen.
In the end, yeah, it's what Chris Roberts' dream is all about. Like, this is his dream. But I will say that I do believe in Chris Roberts' mind that he's like, hey, this is not only my dream, this is the dream of many others who have been involved in this. I can't believe that Chris is that type of a person who's like, it's only my dream. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Chris is not that type of dude. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so open to bring in debate through platforms like Spectrum. He would not have okayed it. If this was like a thing where Chris Roberts is like, this is only my dream, he would have asked you what you wanted. If this was just a Chris Roberts dream, he wouldn't have created or okayed or greenlighted Spectrum, you know? So yes and no to what RedLir said, you know, like, yes, ultimately it's whatever Chris decides he wants it to be, but it is also our collective dreams of the game that we're looking for as well. You can't go black or white with this. You know, it's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle.
Citizen, regardless of any backer expectations.
Right, dude.
The truth is that we're all wrapped up in one man's final shot at achieving his grand opus. I see Chris Roberts as the George Lucas of video games. He had some great ideas and success at an early age, but couldn't fully realize what was in his head because technology, time, and money were all limiting factors. Fast forward a few decades and almost $500 million later, and he is in a much different position.
Absolutely.
There will be no compromise by his own statements on Spectrum. This is the game he's dreamed of his whole life. Now that he's in a position to realize it, he's not willing to compromise its potential. Year after year, new backers come to...
Look at this, man. Look at this shit. Look at this chart here. Look at the revenue pouring in, man. Look at that. From 2012 to current. Holy shit. Holy shit. From 3 million revenue in 2012 to 85 million 9 years later. Holy shit. I haven't even looked at 2022 numbers yet, Paladin. No, I have not. But I do have a section in our Discord called Cloud Imperium Financials. So if you have that information, just plug it in there and we'll check it out on a future stream. But yeah, man, like I was just impressed that 2021 was actually a profit year. They actually posted a profit on their P&L, and I was very happy to see that because I've been banging the table because all these years, I think only 1 year prior, maybe 2014, 2015, did they post a profit on the books. And so for years, they weren't posting a profit, and then they finally posted a profit in 2021, and I was so happy that they did because it makes them more financially sound, more creditworthy. They have more leverage as a corporation by posting a profit. It's great for their credit. It's great for their credibility as well. And it's a good thing that companies do post profit from time to time, because the argument I had against it for the longest time when I would pound the table is, and I would say I want to see profit being posted, is people would say, well, this is what happens with tech companies, DG. Tech companies are only supposed to support, look at everybody. Look at Amazon. Yes, I know. I get it. You know, tech companies do historically post loss after loss every single year, but eventually you have to post that profit to show that you're a viable business, that you have a viable business plan, right? So it's nice to see them actually post a profit in 2021. It gives them credibility. It makes me feel like Cloud Imperium is actually much more viable, and that was my concern. As an analyst, as a financial analyst, as we call them, when we were looking at the numbers, eventually, if you just see loss after loss, you lose faith. You lose faith because you're saying, oh, look at this business model. It's not working. But this one is. They posted a profit, feel really healthy, feel really good about that. I want to congratulate Cloud Imperium. I want to congratulate the CFO that decided, hey, let's post the profit. Let's take the profit and put it down in the books. And I'm very happy that they did this. It made me feel like much more confident about the project. Much, much more confident.
To find something they love about Star Citizen and record amounts of money consistently
yes, an
top
analyst.
the year before. Money buys time, and time eventually leads to more powerful technologies to realize and expand Chris's vision to whatever it may end up being. In the end, Star Citizen may not be what you or I exactly dreamed upon its completion, but I don't regret my time or money
Paladin.
spent on Star Citizen.
Antonio.
It continues to be a great hobby, and I wouldn't trade the friendships and laughs I've
Cash.
experienced along the way for anything. While I may not agree with everything Chris wants or changes, I do fully believe he has the best intentions and is trying to realize the best version of his dream so that he can finally share it with everyone someday. I also believe that the employees at CIG are incredibly talented and passionate about helping Chris achieve this. Love it or hate it, the Star Citizen crowdfunding success that has occurred over the last 10 years is probably one of the biggest social phenomenons that we will experience in our lifetime. There's something about watching a grown man spend a $500 million blank check to chase his childhood dream that I just can't take my eyes off of. I have to wonder if I could ever stop and draw the line if I were in his shoes. For new people finding this channel that are interested in Star Citizen, the final piece of advice I'll give you is this. Take things with a grain of salt, believe what you see in front of you today, and don't buy into the hype too much. If you're interested in the project, check out a free fly, buy a basic starter package, earn chips in-game, and wait. Enjoy the ride. After all, Star Citizen is only 2 years away. Thanks for watching.
Wow, that was a very well done video. I'm giving that a like. That was a very well done video. Very well done. Very well done. That was a very well done video. I liked it. The pacing was great. He was on point. I definitely dug that. So, yeah. I always felt like RedLir was a cool dude, but seeing his content like that just made me feel that much better about RedLir. Let me subscribe. Let me subscribe to him. Cool. Very, very cool. Go check him out. Go check him out. Seems like very informative and seems pretty genuine.